So since it's a very difficult question, I'll give it to the director. Well, let me just mention a few points. One, we have what we call shared values, normative instruments. Two, as African countries, within the AU umbrella, you support that promotion practically. You demonstrate that democracy, wherever it occurs. In Ethiopia, there are no time limits. It's a Westminster model of governance. There are no time limits. Nobody talks about time limits in Ethiopia because it's a prime ministership. In other cases, each country is at liberty within regional, continental, international standards of democracy to make things happen. So, when Niger happened on the 26th of July 2023, that was the fourth coup in West Africa and the fifth country that was eventually suspended by the African Union. We are the only intergovernmental body in the world the United Nations doesn't suspend if you change your government. Yes, you remain sovereign. We call for the protection of your sovereign territorial integrity. But remember that governments previous in Niger continue to sign up to the African Union Constitutive Act. It's Charter for Democracy, Elections and Governance, what we call the Lome Declaration, where they have agreed in writing that military rule will not be tolerated, what we call unconstitutional changes of government. Yes, in international relations, when we do the research, people say we are toothless bulldogs. But you know a bulldog is still a bulldog. That's a good thing. And in enforcing these principles, shared values, the African Union has been frontal. That is why just yesterday, it's 9 p.m. here, Gabon was suspended, making it in the history of the African Union 6 countries. Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Sudan, Niger, and Gabon, suspended from the African Union. They can no longer sit in the assembly of heads of state and government. It's symbolic, but it also has a strong message to the world that we, as the African Union, will not tolerate military rule anymore. Many of our countries here, except Kenya, Botswana, they not have had military rule in the past. The rest, Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, remain under military rule. And coincidentally, what did I tell you? Botswana never had military rule. And it's one of the most progressive. So don't let's be deceived by these military leaders or military generals anymore, or colonels, because they come to fight corruption and they leave uncorrupt. They come to fight poverty, they entrench poverty. Because their business, they have no business in political business. Let's be frank. It is obvious that the younger generation will thrive under democratic rule. But I hear you that also democracy has its limitations. We have to make democracy thrive. We have to open up the space for the youth and for the women to make democracy inclusive, fully participatory. That is the goal. Now for the specific question about French ambassador. It is a question of the relationship between France and its former colonies. In this case, Niger. Now what is critical about you when your president was speaking, I took note of value chain, how we add value to what we do. Niger can have all its uranium, just like Nigeria, Libya, Angola, we have our crude oil. Without value, it's hopeless. Any value-driven partnership or investment that is not anchored in adding value, enriching the uranium, they will go anywhere. Niger is one of the largest in the world. I think it's the sixth largest. It's not going to shake the market. It's not Saudi Arabia, it's crude oil, it's not Russia, it's gas. Therefore, he cannot eat his own uranium alone. It must be exported because they have not created the environment, the enabling environment for internal investment and the production. Nigeria relies on Nigeria for 70% of its electricity. And Nigeria has cut that off because of the sanctions. The African Union, Peace and Security Council, that is mandated to handle cases like this, have endorsed or welcomed the ECOWAS position, except for the use of force. Because we don't have it in our own instruments and legal instruments. But going forward, Niger must be able, the military authorities there must be able to manage their relationship with France. Because not only that, you did not mention that Nigerian ambassador to France was recalled. She also refused. So it's tit for tat. They are saying we do not recognize your authority. All we know in the African Union is that we engage with the member states now that she has been suspended by the African Union. We don't have any direct engagement with the military authorities except to insist, to pressure that leave as soon as possible. Meaning transfer power through elections or restoration of the government of former President Mohamed Bazoum in a way that is democratic, and that in that constitutional order, that restoration that you must plan, the African Union is ready to support. So while they have been suspended, we are also engaging them in pressurizing with ECOWAS their need to move away. But for me, I'm telling you that these governance challenges, they are a distraction. As I said to you, you can show me anywhere in the world where people are still changing governments by unconstitutional and democratic means. None. The more you do that, the more you take us back to the dark ages, to military dictatorships of the 1990s. And that is why these issues are very critical for me, for the youth. Because you know why I'm happy that you asked that question? Check the streets of Miami, check the streets of Libreville. Who are the people dancing on the streets? They are mainly people in nature. Because also bastardized. Hopeless. Democracy must deliver. If democracy does not deliver, the hungry man or woman or the youth will welcome anybody in the school. But for me, this will be my last one. We must not trade former colonial master who scrambled for colony in our continent. I'm talking about what? I'm talking about Russia. I see the youth in the army burning the flag of France and raising the flag of Russia. Excellencies, what's the difference? They should raise the flag of the African Union. They should raise their national flag. They should raise the flag of ECOWAS. They should raise their own. Charity begins at home. Our history has been drawn by master relationship, including slavery, including apartheid. And we must not that. So whether it is only France that you are exchanging for Russia or vice versa, it's still oppression. And that is still. We must move away from being slaves to anyone and be our own masters. That's That's why I really applaud the organization. You are looking forward, your vision. You talk about the dream. What did Martin Luther King say in the 1960s? I have a dream. We must all dream. Somebody dreamt about Dubai. Somebody dreamt about Shanghai. And made the change. But as you said, just don't just dream. Act, implement, and make it happen. All I'm saying for sure is that the military cannot help us in our dreams. That's what I'm saying. We should not jubilate or dance or applaud them for taking out oppressive democratic regimes if that is the question. Rather, turn it around and review the democratic practice in-house. Promote a democracy that is inclusive. We cover elections. We just came back from Zimbabwe. We have, all our countries have very little input for women and youth. Democracy is supposed to be inclusive. What's the difference? They should raise the flag of the African. They should raise their national flag. They should raise the flag of ECOWAS. They should raise their own. Charity begins at home. Our history has been done by master relationship, including slavery, including apartheid, and we must of that. So whether it is only France that is you are exchanging for Russia or vice versa, it's still oppression, and that must change. We must move away from being slaves to anyone and be our own masters. That's why I really applaud the organization. You are looking forward, your vision. You talk about the dream. What did Martin Luther King say in the 1960s? I have a dream. We must all dream. Somebody dreamt about Dubai. Somebody dreamt about Shanghai and made the change. But as you said, just don't just dream. Act, implement, and make it happen. All I'm saying for sure is that the military cannot help us in our dreams. That's what I'm saying. We should not jubilate or dance or applaud them for taking out oppressive democratic regimes if that is the question. Rather, turn it around and review the democratic practice in-house. Promote a democracy that is inclusive. We cover elections. We just came back from Zimbabwe. We have, all our countries have very little input for women and youth. Democracy is supposed to be inclusive. Without the inclusivity of democracy, then it's empty. Those are the things that we can address internally. But these military guys must go back to where they came from, the barracks. Nowhere, no less. Very, very much.
Commissioner, I think you covered it very well. There is really not much to add. Just to say that we should not make the mistake to think that these captains and majors and colonels are your Nelson Mandelas. They are opportunistic. Some of what we know now, this coup in Niger was precipitated because some of the same officers misappropriated $125 million in the fight against the jihadists. Now, as the president they removed was investigating them, there was a preemptive strike, essentially to take him out before he takes them out. Now, just to throw it back to you, are these the people who will save Niger? You've squandered $125 million, allegedly. I don't have the evidence. And they want to hold you to account, and all of a sudden, that becomes a problem. The general who says he's the leader today was head of the Presidential Guard for 12 years. The president wanted to replace him. That cannot be a trigger for a coup d'etat. When President Tinubu took over, he replaced all the service chiefs. There's no coup d'etat in Nigeria because of that. So we need to really be able to interrogate, I like your spirit, I think it's really to say, how do we interrogate this? And you said the AU, some people say it's a toothless bulldog. I just want to say, as the commissioner said, a bulldog is a bulldog, but when we bite, we also bite very hard. So just leave it at that.
Let me just say that I'm teaching one of the two things that are under my area of study, and I'm really appreciating them in this moment. That we're talking about the African organization, the African Union, as a whole unit. But at the bottom of it, there's the issue of sovereignty. So this is what His Excellency just said, that in as much
it's so important that we know that our continent is a transforming continent. I'm very pleased for Liberia, Botswana, Kenya, Ghana, everyone that is represented here. Given that, yes, a bright future, but also, as he said, man-made challenges. Just yesterday, 2 days ago, there was a military coup in Gabon. Last month, there was military coup in Nigeria. There are no military coups anymore in Asia, except Myanmar. Why? Because they are getting their governance right. And I will address you as the future of the continent with the startups, the technology side, the bright minds, future, male, female. We are of the old generation. Don't have it. We are doing our best. But we represent you in an African Union that is supposed to be driven by its citizens to represent a dynamic force in the world. Based on the unity and regional integration that we foresee. We have many programs. We speak about African solutions to African problems. That's what I see you doing. I see you in China, in Shanghai, far away from home, making the best, tapping into technology, learning from the Chinese model and applying it back home, investing in projects back home. That is laudable. That is critical for our development. When people say we are the youngest continent, but that youth board must be tapped into to make this happen, to make development happen, to also guarantee human security. And the only way we can do that is to invest in the youth, is to invest in their education, but also invest in their expertise. This is why you have come all the way to be in various universities, and I really want to appreciate those who have traveled far away to come here, because it's critical for us. We also came by train, and it was unique. At 350 kilometers per hour, we didn't feel the speed. It was fantastic, very good experience. But how do we take Africa to that transformation? We visited the Museum of the Communist Party of China. Today we visited the Naval Medical University. We have visited the helicopter carrier, missile ranging naval ship. We've been to where they make their best military tanks. We have engaged verbally with the Minister of National Defense and State Council. It's been an exciting time. We're here for what is called the China-Africa Peace and Security Forum. But other forums as such have been devoted to direct discussion and conversation. Trust the Chinese. They have invested our time to see their progress in the defense and security industry. So we are here with about 15 ministers of defense from across our continent, across the language barrier. I noticed a young man from Benin, French speaking, English speaking, and they were very, very organized. What can we learn from this? The value chain of development will bring peace, will make peace happen. That's what we are still struggling with in our country. And given all these structures, what have we prioritized in our department? We are prioritizing conflict management in a better way, to prevent conflicts from happening, to pave the way for what you call smart manufacturing. We call it smart partnerships. We have to deliver for good governance and democracy. Democracy doesn't have to be Western model. Democracy just needs to be people driven, people to people contact. And what is necessary for us is to engage as one continent, because our voice internationally will speak for ourselves. Our voice in our regions will speak for ourselves. Whether it's SADC, whether it's IGA, whether it's ECOWAS, all we have to do is to unite. But there is no unity in poverty. There's only unity in progress and development and startups. Our voice in our regions will speak for ourselves. Whether it's SADC, whether it's IGA, whether it's ECOWAS, all we have to do is to unite. But there is no unity in poverty. There's only unity in progress and development and stability. That's what we need. And I really want to assure you, because I don't want to give you a speech, all I want to assure you that your African Union is working. We are challenged. We have resources. We have Somalia we've been dealing with for 16, 17 years. We have Libya. We have Boko Haram. We have to deal with this diversion from the goal of sustainable development. But our agenda 2063 brings us the Africa we want. For me, the only joy I have today that I'm here with you as OAAD is that you are all useful. You are vibrant. The vitality that you have shows us that our continent can be a better place. Because having PhD holders working across the continent, pulling their resources together, engaging one another from different countries, different cultures, different religions, what is critical is that you see yourself as African. And Africa we want, the Africa that must be to silence the guns, can only happen when you take the bull by the horn. Because you are going to change the culture, you are going to change the way technology works, you are going to change the way we build houses, we are going to change the way we study in universities, learning from the best. But remember that this will happen only when peace is guaranteed. Peace is the enabler for security and prosperity. And that's why we've also started investing in the nexus of peace and security and governance and development. We can only achieve this together if we work as one. So please be assured that despite the challenges of terrorism, of violent extremism, governance, African renewal is realizable, it's achievable, it's not a dream. That transformation can happen. Botswana, for instance, is the least corrupt country in Africa. They have invested in governance, in good governance, and the rapidity of this change and transformation is also encouraging to others. If Botswana can do it, why not our other countries? There are countries on the continent that have never had any military coup. How do we promote that stability and learn from each other? I'm a great fan of South-South cooperation. That's what I see in China. That's what I see in the Asian Tigers. That's what I see in what some people call the African Tigers. We need models that can inspire us to make the change happen. So, but most importantly, let me really congratulate you guys as the organization of African Academic Doctors. It's the first time I'm learning about it. And I'm pleased that some of your members are already working with us in Addis Ababa. And we also want to invite the Consul General to please invite you to also come to Addis Ababa. We can meet our two directors. We have Dr. Ba, heads the conflict management, and we have the director also for conflict prevention and governance. The idea is that we have to invest more in preventing conflicts so that we can manage development process better. I still remain a Pan-Africanist in my heart. I believe our continent is not a hopeless continent. Our continent is a beautiful continent, therefore we are aspirational. When our continent is aspirational, we can make change. Yes, former President of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, was told about the speed train. He said, let's start with the small steps train before we get to the speed. But we can leapfrog, as Chairman Mao said here decades ago. We can leapfrog. And that leapfrogging can only happen when we invest in our youth. And my team will tell you, I'm very passionate about youth and women inclusion in anything we do. So what I would suggest to the leadership of the OAAE is that also please give the women a voice. Your voice is heard, and I really want to thank you so much. Ambassador, I think lunch should be served now.
Once again, I'm Bankole on behalf of the Consulate General of Nigeria and my African brothers and sisters that are present here. Honestly, this is Africa. We really had a robust celebration, and I want to believe that it's a family meeting. It was a family meeting. So we thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you and your wonderful team, and we wish you safe trip back to base. Likewise, those that are around here, the participants, our brothers and sisters from Africa, and we have to see ourselves as one. That's just the truth. In fact, I'm not going to take lunch again. I'm filled up. So we appreciate you for coming, and the organizers too. We thank you for everything. You are blessed in Jesus' name. We wish you safe, enjoying lessons back.